It's sunny today. Every time I come here, it's like gorgeous out there.
Well, it's north.
Yeah, yeah.
North facing.
Okay, we're about ready to start. Ryan Swenson is in the start from Andover. Ryan Swenson now on course. In the start is Lars Kovamis from Masconomet. Time for Ryan, 23.40. Lars Kovamis on course. Ryan Reck from Austin Prep is in the start. Correction, time for Ryan Swenson, 21.41. Lars Kovamis from Masco, 23.40. Ryan Reck from Austin Prep, please go back to the start for a rerun. Will Arms from North Andover is in the start. Ryan Reck from Austin Prep, please go to the start for a rerun. Will Arms, please go to the start for a rerun. we're working on it. We have a timing issue at the start. We're doing as fast as we can. ready? Paul! Paul! You ready? All right, folks, we're back to racing. Race is about to start. Ryan Reck from Austin Prep is in the start.
Yeah, hold on a second. Alright, I can't make sure I set my plan correctly. Alright,
Jared, do you want to stay at the finish and I can help out up on the board? Yeah, no problem.
oh, that kid's already. Oh, you're getting into one?
No, Andover one has a time.
Oh, sorry.
We're on Austin Prep one.
Okay, you guys lost the first one?
Yep, we started it at right up top. And it was not even, and it was close, but it wasn't even her fault or my fault. The kids, it was 3:43,
Ryan is on course.
and there was nobody up there. They're on their own time.
I don't know, I think all the way down. We're running against what you guys know the end of one, right?
Will Arms is in the start from North Andover.
Go to work, you don't go to work, you won't get anything.
Time for Ryan, 29.67.
Just be careful don't be touching that wire.
Will Arms is on course, and Evan Fisicelli from St. John's is in the start. Time for Will Arms, 25.30. Evan Fisicelli on course. Cameron Light from Manchester, Essex in the start. Time for Evan, 22.71. Cameron Light on course, and Adam Payne from Havel in the start. Time for Cameron, 25.50. Adam Payne on course, and Tyler Trebanian from Newburyport in the start. Time for Adam Payne, 21.47. Tyler Sherbanian on course, and Sanjay Kim from Andover in the start. Time for Tyler, 24.32. Sanjay Kim on course, and Owen Palmer from Masconomet in the start. Time for Sanjay Kim, 22.29. Owen Palmer from Masco on course, and Drew Nadrozik from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Owen Palmer, 22.84. Drew Nadrozik on course, and Colby Muse from North Andover in the start. Time for Drew, 27.93. Colby Muse on course, and Owen Gant from St. John's in the start. Time for Colby, 23.79. Owen Gant on course, and Owen Bappy from Manchester, Essex in the start. Time for Owen Gant, 21.29. On course is Owen Bappy, and Henry Hartford from Havel is in the start. Time for Owen, 27.47. Henry Hartford on course, and Graham Smith from Newburyport in the start. Time for Henry, 22.35. Graham Smith on course, and Theo Hutchins from Andover in the start. Time for Graham, 24.83. Theo Hutchins on course, and Will Karen from Masconomet in the start. Time for Theo Hutchins, 23.10. Will Karen on course, and Dario Filodoro in the start. Time for Will Karen, 22.93. Dario Filodoro on course, Ryan Radulski from North Andover in the start. Time for Dario, 22.83. Ryan Radulski on course, and Tim Harmon from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Ryan, 22.64. Tim Harmon on course, and Finnegan Strode from Manchester, Essex in the start. Time for Tim, 20.99. Finnegan Strode from Manchester, Essex on course, and Paul Parachojuk from Havel in the start. Time for Finnegan, 34.84. Paul Parachojuk on course, and Tommy Lynch from Newburyport in the start. Time for Paul, 23.39. Tommy Lynch on course, and Quinton Cario from Andover in the start. Time for Tommy, 24.25. Quinton Cario on course, and Andrew Mitchell from Masconomet in the start. Time for Quinton, 23.51. Andrew Mitchell on course, and Luke Bartley from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Andrew, 23.25. Luke Bartley on course, and Ollie Litster from North Andover in the start. Time for Luke, 24.89. Ollie Litster on course, and Cole Hosmer from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Ollie, 23.76. Cole Hosmer on course, and Peter Shaw from Manchester, Essex in the start. Time for Cole, 21.90. Peter Shaw on course and Aiden Wise from Haverhill in the start. Time for Peter, 33.13. Aiden Wise on course, and in the start is Gardner Porter from Andover. Time for Aiden, 27.3. Gardner Porter on course. Wills the Magny from Masconomet in the start. Time for Gardner, 23.89. Wills the Magny from Masconomet on course. Dante Philodoro from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Will, 23.83. Dante Philodoro on course. Ibrahim Haroun from North Andover in the start. Dante's time, 25.17. Ibrahim Haroun on course and Josh Harmon from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Ibrahim, 24.67. Josh Harmon on course and Ryan Began from Haverhill in the start. Time for Josh, 21.93. Ryan Began on course and Beckett Sava from Newburyport in the start. Time for Ryan, 27.24. Beckett Sava on course and Ian Cox from Andover in the start. Time for Beckett, 26.57. Ian Cox on course and Bodie DeVellian from Masconomet in the start. Time for Ian, 25.66. Bodie DeVellian on course and Danny Holmes from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Bodie, 23.76. Danny Holmes on course and Derek Monahan from North Andover in the start. Time for Danny, 33.31. Derek Monahan on course and Rocco Mascarelli from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Derek, 23.84. Rocco Mascarelli on course and Sam White from Haverhill in the start.
Let's go, Rocco!
Time for Rocco, 22.75. Sam White on course, Nolan Smith from Newburyport in the start. Time for Sam, 29.29. Nolan Smith on course, and Karan Mar from Andover in the start. Time for Nolan, 25.73. Kyron Mar from Andover on course, Anthony Stevens from Masconomet in the start. Time for Kyron, 25.06. Anthony Stevens on course, Nate Jaffe from Austin Prep in the start.
And all those lined up for 4:30 GS snowboard lessons. Those lessons will be starting in 5 minutes. Those lessons will be starting in 5 minutes at the screening area.
Time for Anthony, 25.61. Nate Jaffe from Austin Prep on course, and Will Hennessy from North Andover in the start. Time for Nate Jaffe, 28.00. Will Hennessy on course, and Peyton McKee from St. John's in the start.
Good job, Will. Good job. Let's go.
Time for Will, 23.11. Peyton McKee on course, and David Yang from Haverhill in the start. Time for Peyton, 22.33. David Yang on course, and Sawyer Sperry from Newburyport in the start. Time for David, 29.37. Sawyer Sperry on course, and Peter Shaw from Andover in the start. Time for Sawyer, 27.17. Peter Shaw on course, and Colin Dillon from Masco in the start. Time for Peter, 26.39. Colin Dillon on course, and George Mamakos from Austin Prep in the start. Collins time, 26.08. George Mamakos on course, and Luke Ramos from North Andover in the start. Time for George, 30.10. Luke Ramos on course, and Henry Coote from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Luke, 22.94. Henry Coote on course, and Alex Ziza from Haverhill in the start. Time for Henry, 22.12. Alex Ziza from Haverhill in the start. On course, and Andrew Long from Newburyport in the start. Time for Alex, 26.26. Andrew Long on course. Max Reams from Andover in the start. Time for Andrew, 25.99. Max Reams on course. Connor Brown from Masconomet in the start. Time for Max, 24.51. Connor Brown on course, and Jacob Coons from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Connor, 25.17. Jacob Coons on course. Zach Golden from North Andover in the start. Time for Jacob, 28.93. Zach Golden on course from North Andover. And Jack Bowden from St. John's Prep in the start.
Starting right now in the West Mini area. That's all those signed up for 4:30 p.m.
Jack Bowden now on course from St. John's Prep. And Caden Schrauger from Newburyport in the start. Time for Jack, 24.05. Caden Schrauger on course, and John Nees from Andover in the start. Time for Caden, 29.52. John Nees on course, and John McQuarrie from Masconomet in the start. Time for John, 25.38. John McQuarrie on course, and Narek Minassian from Austin Prep in the start. Time for John, 27.67. Narek Minassian on course, and Will VW from North Andover in the start. Time for Narek, 28.31. Will VW on course, and Alex Flynn from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Will, 23.01. Alex Flynn on course, and Austin Yim from Newburyport in the start. Time for Alex Flynn, 23.71. Austin Yim on course, and Noah Chantabong from Andover in the start. Time for Austin, 28.87. Noah Chantabone on course, and Evan Zeltsar from Masconomet in the start. Time for Noah, 26.15. Evan Zeltsar on course, and Joey Zukala from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Evan, 27.01. Joey Zukala on course, and Kevin Packett from North Andover in the start. Time for Joey, 39.69. Kevin Packard on course, and Sam Charette from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Kevin, 26.21. Sam Charette on course, Henry Aiello from Newburyport in the start. Sam's time, 24.71. Henry Aiello from Newburyport on course. Kyle Haskell from Andover in the start. Time for Henry, 36.55. Cal Haskell on course, and Calvin Tregathon from Masconomet in the start. Time for Kyle, 26.14. Calvin Tregathon on course, and Ryan Sullivan from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Calvin, 26.85. Ryan Sullivan on course. Ben Polonsky from North Andover in the start. Time for Ryan, 36.79. Ben Polonsky on course, and Andre Koplow from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Ben, 25.82. Andrea Koplow on course, and Rourke Lee from Newburyport in the start. Andrea's time, 23.45. Rourke Lee on course, and Elliot McQuaid from Andover in the start. Time for Rourke, 35.56. Elliot McQuaid on course, and Zach Richard from Masconomet in the start. Time for Elliott, 29.36. Zach Richard on course, and James Graham from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Zach, 27.04. James Graham on course, and Chris Bodnar from North Andover in the start. Time for James, 42.81. Chris Bodnar on course. Luke Elmer from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Chris, 26.98. Luke Elmer on course. Nate Flagg from Andover in the start. Time for Luke, 23.49. Nate Flagg on course. Elias Cantor from Masconomet in the start. Time for Nate, 26.84. Elias Cantor on course, and Dylan Patel from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Elias, 25.57. Dylan Patel on course, and Austin Banbury from North Andover in the start. Time for Dylan, 31.92. Austin Banbury on course, and Tyler Schwam from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Austin, 27.21. Tyler Schwam on course, Declan Mackhold from Andover in the start. Time for Tyler, 23.64. Declan Mackhold on course, Jonas Kobermies from Masconomet in the start. Time for Declan, 26.99. Jonas Kobermies on course, David Morrow from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Jonas, 28.15. David Morrow from Austin Prep on course, and Avery Tibbetts from North Andover in the start. David Morrow's time, 25.92. From North Andover on course, Avery Tibbetts. And in the start is Ronan Mullen from St. John's Prep. Time for Avery, 26.96. On course is Ronan Mullen from St. John's Prep. for Ronan, 26.39. That concludes the varsity race. JV race will start in approximately 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, JV race is about to begin. First one down is Patrick Allert from Andover. He's in the start.
Okay, you lined up. You ready to race? Reacting number 1.
Patrick is now on course, and in the start is Baden Cox from Masconomet. Time for Patrick, 29.82. Baden Cox is now on course, and Josh Zucchero from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Baden, 29.78. Josh Zucchero from Austin on course, and Artem Likanov from North Andover in the start. Josh Zucchero from Austin Prep, 40.18. Artem Likanov from North Andover. On course, Matt Vigneault from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Artem, 34.47. Matt Vigneault on course, Owen McLean from Manchester, Essex in the start. Time for Matt, 22.71. Owen McLean on course and Ty Cox from Andover in the start. Time for Owen, 23.62. Ty Cox from Andover on course, Ethan Daly from Masconomet in the start. Time for Ty, 27.23. Ethan Daly on course, Aiden Bamberry from North Andover in the start. Time for Ethan, 26.01. Aiden Bamberry on course, and Nolan Chandler from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Aiden, 25.98. Nolan Chandler on course, and Gray West from Manchester, Essex in the start. Gray West from Manchester, Essex is in the start. Gray West is now on course. Alexander Riley from Andover in the start. Time for Gray, 27.55. Alexander Riley on course and Matt Aronson from Masconomet in the start. Time for Alexander, 26.46. Matt Aronson on course. Liam Dean from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Matt, 31.34. Liam Dean on course and Thomas Judson from North Andover in the start. Time for Liam, 32.29. Thomas Judson on course and Andrew Scorzoni from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Thomas, 30.82. On course is Andrew Scorzoni and Tucker Nichols from Manchester, Essex in the start. Time for Andrew, 27.06. Tucker Nichols on course and Teddy Pierney from Andover in the start. Time for Tucker, 29.23. Teddy Tierney on course. Quinn Dexter from Masconomet in the start. Time for Teddy, 27.13. Quinn Dexter on course and Carson Wong from North Andover in the start. Time for Quinn, 31.78. Carson Wong on course and Grant Drinkwater from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Carson, 32.44. Grant Drinkwater on course. Ernest Taylor from Manchester, Essex in the start. Time for Grant, 27.76. Ernest Taylor on course and Rowan Naughton from Andover in the start. Time for Ernest, 36.68. Rowan Naughton on course and Mike Mihalchik from Masconomet in the start. Time for Rowan, 28.83. Mike Mihalchik on course. Will Slayton from North Andover in the start. Time for Mike, 31.31. Will Slayton on course. Max Rizza from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Will, 28.02. Max Rizza on course. Andrew Cahill in the start from Manchester, Essex. Time for Max, 26.76. Andrew Cahill on course. Matthew Weber from Andover in the start. Time for Andrew Cahill, 32.48. In the start is Colin Bakunis from Masconomet, and he's now on course. Luke Durney from North Andover in the start. Time for Colin, 29.97. Luke Durney on course, and Sam Tucker from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Luke, 31.62. Sam Tucker on course. William Cornell from Manchester, Essex in the start. Time for Sam, 23.83. William Cornell on course and Armin Chowdhury from Andover in the start. Another Andover game? Yeah.
Sorry, man. I was talking to Paul. Alright, Alright, the first one is coming down. Yeah, right?
On course is Aiden Oasis from Masconomet. Time for Aiden, 26.71. In the start from St. John's Prep, Nick Marino. Nick is now on course, and in the start is Neres Ruiz Boylan. Time for Nick, 23.68. Neres Ruiz Boylan on course, and Owen Riley from Masconomet in the start. Time for Neres, 29.94. Owen Riley on course, and Josh Atkinson from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Owen, 33.26. Josh Atkinson on course, and Joe Anton from Andover in the start. Time for Josh, 26.51. Time for Joe Anton from Andover, 31.72. In the start is Charlie Posenka from Masconomet. Charlie is now on course. Charlie Posenka and Adam Savoy from St. John's Prep is in the start. Time for Charlie, 33.54. Adam Savoy is on course, and Ryan DeBenedictis from Andover in the start. Time for Adam, 27.76. Ryan DeBenedictis on course, and Charlie Antonakis from Masconomet in the start. Time for Ryan, 30.47. Charlie Antonakis on course, and Phil Murray in the start from St. John's Prep. Time for Charles, 34.04. Phil Murray on course, and Ryan Kane from Andover in the start. Time for Phil, 29.13. Ryan Kane on course, and Luke Bannerman from St. John's Prep in the start.
Thanks for helping coach tomorrow.
Time for Ryan, 30.97. Luke Berneman on course. Malachi Breedy from Andover in the start. Time for Luke, 26.52. Malachi Breedy on course. Andrew Cheevers from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Malachi, 30.92. Andrew Cheevers on course, and in the start is Cooper Dunnigan from St. John's Prep. Time for Andrew Cheevers, 31.43. Cooper Dunnigan on course, and Tucker Dunnigan from St. John's Prep in the start. Time for Cooper, 36.34. Tucker Dunnigan on course, and Aiden Rogers in the start from St. John's Prep. Time for Tucker, 34.73. Aiden Rogers on course. Time for 8, 23.25. That concludes the junior varsity race. Thank you all for coming. After a quick hitch in the beginning, we seem to have a pretty good race. Thanks again. See you next week.
It's cold. Yep. Hey, Paul, in the JV, did you get St. John's one? JV race, the St. John's one came down with one pole. He only had one pole in the JV race. He lost the pole. You couldn't finish with one? Oh, okay. Okay.